Last day. Ah, I love reading readers with my students, and I have really loved getting this ready. I hope that this has been a good experience for you. We do have a couple of like what's next type of videos to watch after this, but this is the last of our actual lesson videos. So today is the test. Today we're going to, if you're giving an assessment, today's the day we're going to assess. So we're just hopping to the end. We gave you two choices because we know that everybody's in a different situation at school. So, test one is a four skills assessment. There's two options, and you may take this test over 1 day or 2 days, depending on the amount of time you have in a class period. And you may choose to do all four skills, or you may choose to pull out one or two or three skills that you want to test. But we made the assessment have all four skills if you want to use them all. Or we also made a more traditional test to conclude the unit. So vocab matching, true or false questions, gap fill, multiple choice. We have that available if that's the type of test that you prefer to give at the end, or if you're in a department that does prefer to have, a non-subjective type of test like that. But if they are doing the four skills assessment, they have a reading assessment. They'll read two short stories and answer questions. The writing portion, they have three prompts. So it gives them the option to select the prompt they feel most comfortable about. The listening portion, they're going to listen to two different scripts. There's story script one. You can read that aloud to them, and story script two. The last part is speaking. You could have them present to you. It would take a lot of time, and it's very uncomfortable to be a level one or two student speaking in front of your whole class. I have mine record their speaking. Now that they cannot use Flip and all of the things that made our lives easier because everything good we get gets bought out by a big company and then goes away, you can have them just use a Google video, like they can make a video in Google. You can have them submit it to you on their LMS. You can, my LMS is Schoology, and we actually have the ability, if they record on their iPad and save it to their camera roll, they can upload a video file. So that's how I have my students turn in their speaking. But their prompts are talk about your favorite animal. Where does it live? Why is it special? Retell one part of Shirley's story in your own words. Say 5 to 6 things you remember about Xochimilco. These kids are novice, high, intermediate, low students. So their job, their A plus, is to be able to make a series of simple sentences. It's not to be talking at paragraph length. Paragraph and multiple paragraphs are in the intermediate, high to advanced range. So making sure that your expectations of what they'll present in writing or in speaking are, important too. Writing wise, they're going to be able to write a lot more. Our writing prompts are here. Describe Sholi. Write 5 to 6 sentences about the legend of Xolotl. Imagine you are in Xochimilco. What do you see, hear, and do? Uh, those are going to vary who chooses each one, but if they retell the story of Xolotl, if they retell the story of Xoli, they may write more than the minimum. That's okay. We want them to express as much as they can, but not penalize them for not being beyond the proficiency level that data shows that they should have at this point. So just keeping in mind that a realistic expectation is series of simple sentences, not multiple paragraphs with an introduction and conclusion, unless you've been teaching with a level 3-4 group. In that case, your students are moving into that intermediate mid where they will be able to produce paragraphs and possibly multiple paragraphs in writing. And then in their speaking, they might give you a 2-minute chat about something. So don't feel like you have to stick with the instructions as written. You can definitely adapt it to the people that are in your classroom with you. I hope that you enjoyed this book club. I hope this test goes well for you. When I grade this, I've said before, and I will say again, when I grade speaking, my students, as long as they complete the task, they get a full score. So if I grade my speaking out of 20 points on this test, then they're going to get the full 20 points if they do it, because speaking is our last skill to develop. Speaking, actually, at the national average level, students are getting around an intermediate low to barely into the mid after 4 years of language study. So if we're working with ones and twos, they're not going to be anywhere near that. So we want them just making some simple sentences. And if they've done that, then they're going to get full credit. It doesn't matter If they make mistakes, that is part of ACTFL's proficiency descriptors, those lower intermediates are a mess. If it is comprehensible to you as the teacher, that's what matters. So if they're comprehensible and they've given you good sentences, full credit on speaking. On the writing, again, national average says that after 4 years, our students are hitting about intermediate mid. Uh, and these are still lower level students in most cases. So they're going to be on the novice, high, intermediate, mid border. That means, again, it needs to be comprehensible to you, but it should be using a varied vocabulary and more detail. So as long as they're giving good detail, again, I'm not going to go through and check every answer, everything that they have wrong, because that discourages them from being brave and from trying new things. So I'm going to go through and maybe give them one thing to work on for next time, tell them the part I liked best, highlight instances where they used our new vocabulary, and I'm really proud of them, but I'm going to be their cheerleader. I am going to have Dylan, I'm going to do that as soon as I get off here so I don't forget. I'm going to have Dylan put the easy feedback rubric pack that I have into our folder of resources. That's how I grade all of my writings is through some sort of an easy feedback rubric so that I am able to tell them this is where you were right on target. This is where you did A+ work. This is where you might have fallen a little below, and this is where you might have passed beyond what I was expecting of you. So the easy feedback rubrics are going to be in your folder if you'd like to check those out and see how I'll be grading my writing. Thank you again for joining us on this journey. Can't wait to debrief with you about book club. Have a really great, now we're almost to March by the time we've gotten here. Have a really great end of your spring semester. We all know once it finally turns March and for third quarter is over, it is a mad sprint to the finish to try and get everything done and all the days of interruptions. And so I just have a wonderful end of your school year and thanks for trusting me with your class materials. Bye bye.